Well, good morning, everyone. It's really good to be with you this morning. And I, like John, when I got uh, the news about the theme of the conference, I too struggled and had to think, what direction will I go in? And so I really am trusting God that He has led me in a way which will be of most help for you this morning and encouragement for you as well. I'm going to make you work a little bit. So you'll already have found on your seat, I hope you have pens or pencils. You should have a page like this, pressing on, a worksheet. And then you have another little worksheet which I'll refer to later on. You don't need to look at this one yet. And one that you can work on even at home. So we'll be coming to that throughout the time we have together. The world that we live in, I don't need to tell you, is a changing world. There are many areas of life in this world that we could focus in on. I've just chosen two, just to highlight some of the change. Like many times we do, we get into Google and we ask Google a question. And I went into Google and asked the question, what did we not have 25 years ago that we have today and use today? And so all of these answers started popping up on the screen. And as I looked at them, some of them I'm very familiar with and I use every day, and I don't know how I could live without it. Some of you may see other things there that are very useful for you also, and you use on a daily basis, maybe even an hourly basis. I could probably fill 2-3 screens with all the things that didn't exist 25 years ago. And yet they are such a part of our lives today. And we can't even imagine not having them. Another area that we could look at where there is change, of course, is the religious scene. And a few little statistics about how our society here in this part of the world specifically is changing. Some stats from the Republic of Ireland. In 2016, a survey showed that 79% of the population identified as Roman Catholic. In 2022, that statistic had already fallen to 69%. I won't even mention the practicing part of it because it's well below 30%. And so we see in many of our countries, religion statistics are falling. A knowledge of God is becoming less and less. A YouGov survey carried out here in Northern Ireland in 2022 stated that 6 out of 10 people do not attend church anymore here in the north of Ireland. And when you think about that, when we go to the kids in our clubs, when we teach the children in camps or wherever we have opportunity, 6 of them out of 10 will quite probably not have any kind of biblical background. In a list of 34 European countries, and they were put in order, the most religious being number 1, the least religious, number 34, the United Kingdom. Any ideas where it comes in that list? I was shocked. Number 29 out of 34 European countries. The UK comes in at number 39. The Western world has become one of the most secular parts of the world. Don Carson, when he's explaining secularization, he says it's the process of progressively moving religion or God from the public arena and reducing it even to the private realm. Rebecca McLaughlin made a comment about this, talking about how when God is removed from the center, the door for liberalism is laid open. anything and everything goes. The vacuum created by removing or rejecting biblical views is very, very quickly filled with other views. Views that center on diversity, equality, and everyone's right to be themselves. One British politician put it like this: we don't do God anymore. And that's the society that we are living in. This is changing every year. This is changing. So we live in this changing world, without a doubt. But one thing that does not change, and never will change, is the message. The message that God has entrusted us to share, to proclaim, to pass on to the next generation, that has not changed. And Psalm 145, verse 4, tells us very clearly, one generation shall commend your works to another and shall declare your mighty acts. There we have the message that doesn't change, and there we have the plan that God has for us. John Piper, I had this quote in the little blurb about the seminar. I think it's worth repeating. It is the biblical duty, and he made this comment on this particular psalm when he was preaching a sermon. It is the biblical duty of every generation of Christians to see to it that the next generation hears about the mighty acts of God. God does not drop a new Bible from heaven on every generation. But he intends that the older generation will teach the newer generation to read, to think, to trust, obey, and rejoice. It is the responsibility, it is our duty, our biblical duty, to pass on this message to the next generation. And whether that is in our homes, family devotional times, whether it's in our Sunday school class, whether it's in the open air at a 5-day club or a school classroom or a school assembly or a good news club or a camp, wherever, this is our duty to pass on this message that does not change. And it is everyone's responsibility. Elton Trueblood said, evangelism is not a professional job for a few trained men, but instead it is the unrelenting responsibility of every person who belongs to the company of Jesus to share that message. So everyone in this room is included. There's none of us can say, when we belong to the Lord Jesus Christ, when he has saved us, none of us can say, it's not my responsibility. It is, because this is God's plan, that one generation tells the next generation. CEF workers who are here today, it is our responsibility to pass that message on to the next generation, to evangelize the boys and girls in our areas. But it is also our responsibility to build a ministry where we are multiplying our gospel impact by recruiting and investing in our volunteers. And through their involvement, many more children are reached as we train them, empower them, and send them out to reach boys and girls. If you're here at this weekend, you're not a full-time CEF worker or a part-time CEF worker, you're a volunteer, a prayer partner, committee member, or you're just here because someone invited you to come along and you're interested, well, I want to challenge you, don't you leave this conference without talking to the CEF local worker in your area. Or talk to some of those that you see here at the front, maybe one of the workers that you know. Talk to them and say, what can I do? How can I help? How can I fulfill my responsibility in taking the gospel to the boys and girls in my area? It is our unrelenting responsibility to do that, to follow God's plan and to proclaim the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. But it's not easy. And it does involve pressing, sometimes pushing. Uphill, it can feel at times, pushing on. So there are three things. I'll only choose three. There are lots we could think about, but just three things that as I thought about this, as we want to press on with proclaiming this unchanging message in a world that is changing constantly, how can we do this? So, pressing on, informed. We need to know our audience. Who are we teaching? Who are the children sitting in front of us today? And I'm going to give you a little bit of work to do now. If you look on your worksheet, you'll have on the front page, there are three areas. So I'm going to delegate a question to each area. So everyone on this side, I want you to think in the next 2 to 3 minutes, what is the mindset of the children you are teaching today? So they're not coming with empty minds just waiting to be filled. There's already things there. What's there? What is their mindset? So you can talk together in pairs or groups of 3 or turn around. You'll have a couple of minutes to do it. And then after the couple of minutes, we're going to fill these boards here with all of your answers. Group in the middle, you have the second question. What is their basic needs? What are basic needs that children have today? And then here on this side, how do children learn today? How do they learn? What way do they learn? I can think back long enough now, 50 years, to when I was in primary school and how I learned then. It's so different to the way children learn today. And you will probably, I'm looking here, lots of young faces here. You're going to know lots of answers to this question. So you've got two minutes. I will give you on the clock. And after 2 minutes, you can talk together. I want to hear your answers. We're going to put them on the board because we're going to need these answers in a moment or two. So you can talk. You can make noise. It's all right to talk during the next couple of minutes. Okay, 2 minutes are up. Lots of chatting going on. Let's see what answers we've got. So we're going to start over here first, which was, what is the mindset of children who are coming to our clubs and outreaches today? Just call it out there.
We have two great spokespeople here.
All right, let's hear it.
They're more exposed to social media.
Okay, so social media, and that brings it, what kind of a mindset is that bringing?
They're exposed to more of the world than they otherwise would be.
Exposure to everything, yeah, yep. Okay, so they're coming very knowledgeable about things that are good and things that are not so good, perhaps. Good, what else? What is the, yes?
They might be aside from that, in that because they are exposed so much, there's an expectation to be given entertainment and to absorb rather than just to create their own.
Okay, so there's this idea then to be entertained because they have so much there on their devices that they can just watch and absorb, and there is that expectation perhaps, yep, in their mind. Good. Anything else? Mindset. Yes. Oh, somebody here at the back, and then we'll come to the front again. Okay, yes. So what's true for me is truth. What's true for you is truth. So there's no absolute truth anymore. Okay, so that can be interesting when you pull the Bible out. Any others? Who was too old for their age?
They're old, they're aware of everything at a
Yes,
younger age.
they're aware of a lot
You
of...
said you ever want to be a child, wanting to be an influencer.
Yeah, okay. So not just to be a child, but to be an influencer, which is where they are being, let's say, that's where a lot of their mindset is coming from, those who are influencing them on social media. One more before we pass over to the next one. Okay, yes. So when Angie and me were at school, we just believed everything the teacher taught us, didn't question it at all, whereas now you question everything. Good, great. Now, I know there's lots more we could say, but we'll move on to the next group, which I think are the basic needs. Isn't that right? Here in the middle. So what are basic needs that the children have today?
Stability.
Stability, yes. Stability, security, that safe feeling. Yep, good.
Role models.
Role models. They still need positive, good role models. Excellent. Any other? Attention. Attention as in
An adult paying attention to them.
okay, someone paying attention to them, so that someone takes an interest in them, listens to them, plays with them. Okay, excellent. Yes.
Love.
Love, okay. Of course, that is a basic one we all need. They need that. A new phone. Are these needs or wants? Yeah. So, acceptance, yeah. Being part of the group, yes. Very much. Anything else on this side?
Stable relationships.
Stable relationships, very good. Yeah. Even if we think of the basic things like something to wear, something to eat, a roof over your head, all of those are very basic needs, and education, very basic needs that children have. In many ways, those have not changed, actually, over the years. Children still need all of those things. Great. Okay, let's go to the last group. I'm looking forward to hear what we'll hear on this side. So, how did children learn today? Visually. Okay. We have to think about all the different learning styles. Visually, audio, touching, kinesthetic, all of those different kinds of learning style. Yep. Good? You all right, Claire? Imitation. Yeah, so copying, yeah, what they see. Yeah, so they're learning from their leaders, from their parents, from their influencers. Yeah. How else do they learn? How do they learn in school? Or how do you learn in school today?
Interaction.
Interaction, okay, there's lots of interaction, lots of engagement. So it's not just the matter of sitting and listening all the time. There are activities, questioning, questions, discussions, group work, project work, all kinds of ways that kids are learning in school today. So they're much more involved in the learning process. Fantastic. So we've got lots of things written here on the boards. We're going to keep them, and we will come back to them in a moment or two. We need to know who our audience is. We need to be informed about them. And here's just 3 areas we've looked at: their mindset, their basic needs, and how they learn. And even these 3 areas are going to affect you and me as we get up to teach them. Because we can't teach them the way we did 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. We have to teach them the way they learn today. And for those of us who are in the older generation, that is the challenge of being able to do that. So we're going to come back and think about this in a moment. But this is part of pressing on being informed. This helps us to keep moving forward by knowing who we are teaching. Oops, we had the questions there. Second thing, we need to press on equipped. And it was wonderful to hear Victoria sharing all those different items that are available for you. But I don't think there is a time in my experience of CEF where we have had so many tools and resources. We are really spoiled with all of these resources. We have God's Word, we have the Bible. That's always our primary source and resource. But there are so many different kinds of tools that we have available for the curriculum, for the camps, for the teens, for the preschooler, for evangelism, for teachers, missionary lessons, all kinds of tools and resources. We are living in a time when we cannot have any excuse to say, well, I've nothing I can use. You have everything. You just have to find the right thing. So I encourage you, go back there to the literature table down there and take the tools to equip you. But we also are in a time in CEF where the training to help us use these tools has never been so vast. TCE 1 and 2, let me just ask, who has taken TCE 1 that's here? Nice and high, don't be shy. There we go. Oh, wonderful. Even Colin has taken TCE 1. Great. What about TCE 2? Any of you taken TCE 2? I know there was a TCE 2 just finished recently. So these courses help us to know how to use these materials. It's the same methodology that's used in both our resources that we teach the children with and our training courses, which help you to use those resources. But that's not the only courses we have available. We also have the preschool teachers course. We have the special training for leaders in youth ministry. Those courses are also available, and I know they're online. The teens one, I think, runs every autumn, and it's done online. You can sign up for that and take part in it. We have 2 sets of materials, Teach Others also, and the City Kids Seminars, which are individual seminars which can be pick and mix and put together for local churches especially. One is more in the direction of evangelism, the other is more for Sunday school ministry. But that's not the only training courses that are available. Summer Outreach Training Course. Now, who has done that? Anyone here? Oh, yes, lots of you have done Summer Outreach Training Course. This is another one which is offered and helps us to use the evangelistic materials that we have. D67, anyone heard of this one? This is brand new. Only 1 or 2 of you. Well, some freebies for you. D67, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. Teach, talk, and walk. These are self-study training manuals. Love God most, choose God's ways. Choose God's ways is a great book for helping you to teach in your home, the kids in your own home or Sunday school, how you can help children to know when they're faced with a difficult situation, with a choice, how do they know how to choose God's way? So there's lots of really practical, helpful training, both for the teacher to enrich their lives, but also lots of practical ideas how to teach the greatest commandment to boys and girls who have trusted in the Lord, how to help boys and girls who have trusted in the Lord to choose God's ways. Book 3 will be coming out in a matter of weeks. Know God's heart, all about the gospel. And how do we proclaim the gospel to children today? That will be coming very soon. Now, there's a limited number of these down at the book table, but if you would like them, they're free. The only condition is you use them. They're self-study booklets, so you can do them yourself, your own private study, or you can get a little group together, maybe Sunday school teachers, maybe your Good News Club helpers, and work through the material together. Fantastic new training material. But not only that, there is, of course, the flagship training that CEF has on offer. I'm going to tell you a bit more about that tonight, the Children's Ministry Leadership Course. We have never, ever, I think, been in a situation that we are in today where we can be equipped to the maximum in order to reach the boys and girls that we are teaching today in our clubs. But we not only have all of these materials and training, we also have different methods, many different methods. And from my research of CEF Ireland, these are some of the main ministries, direct children's ministries, that go on week by week, year by year in your direct work with the kids. Good News Clubs, 5-day clubs, holiday Bible clubs. We have materials, we have training, we have methods. We are informed about our audience. And so what I want you to do for a moment, and I'm going to give you a couple of quiet moments just now. On the second page of your worksheet, thinking about the things we put up on the boards here. 2 areas, and you can adapt this to your situation. Whether it's a Good News Club program or your Sunday school program, whatever youth club, whatever is your context. Look at these 2 areas, the Bible lesson or Bible teaching part and the actual program. Thinking about our audience, what would you need to change? As you think about the mindset of children, how will this change the way you teach the truth? How you'll explain it? How you will apply it? Will you need to adjust the way you explain something? How they learn? Will this change how you organize your program? The elements that you will include, the number of minutes you'll spend on each element, how you will engage the children in the program, how you will engage them in the Bible lesson, where they're not simply hearing your explanations or applications, but by engaging them and involving them, they are actually discovering the application for their own life. And you can see those little light bulbs go on in their minds as the penny drops and they realize what that means for them. Does it mean we have to change? Does it mean that we maybe need to add other things into our programs to make them more meaningful? That helps to build that relationship, that helps them to see the love, those basic needs that they have. Those basic needs should be met in our clubs, in our camps, in those times when we meet with the kids. They should feel safe. This is a safe place. This is a place where I feel loved. This is a place I will come no matter if it's raining or snowing or sleet outside. I don't care what the weather is like. I will be there because I know my teacher will be there and she loves me and she has time for me and she'll teach me. She cares about me. Recently, one of our workers in Romania, they were making a little promotional video for their Good News Club, and so they got someone to go and interview the children. And one of the questions that they were asked was, if you were wanted to send a message to your Good News Club teacher, what would you like to say to them? So they had total freedom to do this. Of course, they were being recorded, but the Good News Club teacher wasn't there, so they could say what they wanted. And one little girl, and she wasn't the only one, but her answer was so clear. She said, I would like my teacher to know I will not miss a week because I know she loves me and I want to be here. A basic need met in our Good News Club. Maybe the change we need to make is just to get there a bit earlier or stay a bit longer so that you can have that time to build that relationship and to help to meet those basic needs. So just take a moment. I'm going to give you a minute. Of course, you can think more about this later today, later this afternoon, when you go back home again, as you prepare for your next Good News Club or your next Sunday school class. And just think, what would I change? Is there anything pops into your head straight away, right now? I would need to think about doing that a bit differently. So just take a minute. I'll give you 60 seconds. Okay. Just before we move on to the third, pressing on, a quote from, his name's just slipped me, Kevin DeYoung, a quote from him. On this whole idea of thinking about all these different aspects to the audience of the boys and girls we're reaching today. He made this comment in his book, The Not So Secret to Reaching the Next Generation. Don't spend all of your time, I emphasize that, not all of your time. You do need to spend some time, but don't spend all of your time trying to figure out how to be like the next generation. Just tell them about Jesus. If they tell them about Jesus and love them unashamedly. If they see love in you, love for each other, love for the world, and love for them, they will listen, no matter who they are. That is a very basic need, and a key aspect to our ministry with the boys and girls we're reaching today as we press on. So press on, be informed, be equipped, pressing on together. Now this might seem a strange one, but as I thought about as we press on, it's so hard to do it all by yourself. A very simple reason that we press on together, a biblical one, and I'll only share one verse. I'm sure you can think of many more verses. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Even that is a good enough reason for us not to press on alone, but together. Together how? Together in the CEF family. And whether you're in the immediate family, let's say, those who are full-time workers or part-time workers, or let's say the extended family, all the volunteers and committee members and volunteers, prayer partners, whichever category of family, you are not a lone ranger, and you should not be a lone ranger. You are part of a family. So moving forward together in the CEF family. But moving forward together, pressing forward together with the local churches. This is vital. God has commissioned his church to go and make disciples of all the nations. But you and I are part of that church. Alongside of that, we have this special calling and special role that God has given to us to serve the local churches and to equip them to reach the children. Our goals in the organization of CEF, mission organization, is to evangelize, to disciple, and then to get those kids established in a local church. And the only way we can do that is by working together, pressing on together with the local church. What does this mean practically? 3 things. Pressing on together in the family of CEF with the local churches locally, nationally, regionally. And I want to highlight 3 things for you today of how you can be involved in that. Locally, if you're a local CEF worker, God has placed you, whether it's in Belfast or Dublin, whether it's in Northeast Antrim or Lagan Valley, wherever it is, God has placed you there, either as a full-time worker or as a volunteer, as part of the team in that local area. So, plan a ministry you can do together. This will build community and fellowship in your area. So one idea to do that, and these are not new ideas, I have to tell you, you will know them. But sometimes our attitude needs a little refresh when it comes to these particular methods, because God uses them in amazing ways. So, let me share with you a little video of some teens who went out and were involved in gospel booklet distribution.
Mă numesc Lois și împart broșuri în Sibiu cu oamenilor. Am avut o cum o teamă în inima mea pentru că simțeam cum oamenii sunt revoltați față de mine că le dau broșuri, dar după aceea, după ce am văzut că zâmbesc, oarecum m-am liniștit. Dumnezeu cred că este fericit și este mândru de mine și vreau să-mi dea putere și curaj să fac asta în continuare. Amin!
Mă numesc Hanche Sara, am 13 ani, din Alba Iulia.
Și astăzi am decis împreună cu grupa mare de la școala duminicală să împărțim niște caiete de întreb de ce și le punem în post la oameni sau le punem pe mașini sau le dăm chiar la oameni și când dai simți așa cumva că ești implicat și simți că are efect. E foarte faină senzația și simți că și când erau copii mici și vedeam că se bucură, că vedeai că că cineva se gândește la ei.
8 teenagers. And in one afternoon, they gave out, well, I think within an hour or two, 200 gospel booklets on the streets of a city in Romania. They went with their Sunday school teacher, who leads the teens group in the church. And I can't tell you the difference. I met these girls just a couple of weeks ago at a conference, and they were so excited, so encouraged by that afternoon they spent on their day trip to Cebu, giving out gospel booklets. Could we do it? Could we do it this weekend? We're a lot more than 8 people. I know something. In the back hallway there's a box with 800 gospel booklets, all related to the Easter season that we are in. Will you take up this challenge that until Tuesday before you leave, that you take some of these booklets and give them out? What do you think? I'm not actually going to give you a choice. I'm going to say, this is the challenge, and I hope in your hearts you're saying, challenge accepted. And as you go out today, you will lift 5, 10, 20 of these booklets and give them out. Now, if you need some help, you have another little worksheet here. And you already have some ideas on it of how you can give these tracts out. Have you given them out so you can look back, maybe to experience where you have given out gospel tracts? You have some ideas. What about these ideas? Then you have an empty column where you can write in your ideas. And I thought today, how do you give out tracts in Portrush when it's lashing down rain and the wind is blowing? That is a challenge. So I'm interested to see what you will write in here. How am I going to give out these tracts over the next few days while it's Easter and get these into the hands of boys and girls and into homes? How are you going to do that? I'll give you one suggestion to get started. We're going to meet someone today for coffee in the afternoon. I think it's in the White House. I haven't been in the White House, I think, in 40 years or 50 years. So I'm not even sure what it's like, but I presume there's a coffee shop. We're going to take a bunch of these tracts with us into the coffee shop. Now, for sure, people are going to be inside today. Families, perhaps. Why not strike up a conversation? Oh, it's great to see you out. Are you enjoying Easter? Do you know what Easter's about? Here's something for your kids. Have a little read at it. It tells the wonderful story of Easter. And some will take it. Some will say, no thanks, but that doesn't matter. You give them the opportunity to take the gospel. So there's one idea. Take it with you in the coffee shop. Have it in your handbag, ladies. Have it in your coat pocket. But have them with you. Have them in the car. Have them with you. So empty that box at the back there in the hallway and make sure these tracts are not left in a box, because they're no good in a box. Get them into the hands of boys and girls. So that's your challenge for this afternoon. If those teens could do it and they were fearful, yes. Were they worried how people would respond? Yes. But yet, God encouraged them and built them up in their faith so much through that experience. And I have to say, it's not their last experience. They will continue to do that. So locally, and here's something you could do locally together in your local area with your volunteers or with the people today. Over 700,000 of these tracts have been given out or are currently being given out all over Europe. Over 700,000 of them. And while you are giving out the 800 that we have here, remember to pray for this message that's going out all around Europe during these days. Nationally, together nationally, Good News Across is a project that a number of countries throughout Europe have taken up. It's a ministry that's related to 5-day clubs, but with a difference. It's an intensified week of 5-day club ministry in an area that has been chosen with the local churches, with trained volunteers. And for 1 week, they all come together, and there is a special week of open-air evangelism and gospel booklet distribution. I want to show you a little video of one of these weeks. As I say, they happen in different countries in Europe. But this particular area, this happened in Romania last summer, down in the south part of Romania. A very spiritually challenging, dark, dark area of Romania. Whenever the believers heard that CEF was planning this project in the county of Altenia, they said, "You're crazy. You shouldn't go. You'll be stoned. You'll be chased away. You'll have all sorts of problems." But they went. And I hope you will be able to see what happened. Over 1,000 children heard the gospel during that week in a place where most believers said, "Don't go." But these young people went, and also not so young. We have families who come each year. It's an annual event who take their holidays to spend a week together in evangelism. The church is central in the project The ministry begins on the Saturday evening with a commissioning, the Sundays in the churches, getting people to pray for the event, then all week and every evening coming together to give report and praise time. It's an incredible time of fellowship and out in the mission field together. Nationally, is this something that could be done in Ireland? I think it could. It can be done to strengthen, perhaps, a ministry in one area, or to pioneer. Now, to pioneer, you have to do things a little bit differently because you need a team then working there. But there's a little QR code, a quick response code, on the bottom of your worksheet, and you can find out some more details about Good News Together. And not only that, other ideas, other methods and ministries that you can use to reach boys and girls nationally. We're not lone rangers. We shouldn't be alone. So let's use it. And finally, just one other ministry I want to share with you regionally. Don't forget we are CEF, not just of Ireland, but of Europe. And it is wonderful to be involved in a ministry with our brothers and sisters all around Europe. In Ukraine, in Kyrgyzstan, in Armenia, in France, in Portugal, in Italy, in Switzerland, in Latvia, in Norway. To be part of a project together regionally. And Christmas Together is one of those projects. Together as a family of CEF volunteers and CEF workers, together with the churches, and together at a season of year when people are open to the gospel more than ever. There are little communities set up on WhatsApp that you can be a part of, which again helps you to see that you are not alone in this ministry. You can share prayer requests, praise items, ideas. And I thought this was wonderful as I was scrolling through this last Christmas Together. Where else would you get a post on a media site like this, like a WhatsApp site, where you have a praise item about a Christmas club in Ireland with Joanna, and right next is the Christmas club in Istanbul. One of the first Christmas clubs ever. Amazing. A wonderful way to feel part of this bigger family and to be a bigger part of this family. You know, last year through this project regionally, all around Europe, 710 training workshops were organised by CEF workers all around Europe for this ministry. Over 16,000 volunteers were trained to hold Christmas clubs, Christmas party clubs. And over 1 million children heard the gospel last Christmas. Because together, regionally as a family, we got together and we encouraged each other, and we prayed for each other, and we supported each other. You can find out more about Christmas Together using the QR code and find some other things there. So, as we press on not alone, but together as a family, together with the churches. We inform ourselves, we equip ourselves, we do all we can to give our best and do our best to connect in the best ways possible with the children today. I want to finish with a quote from John Stott. The Lord Jesus said to his disciples, and he said to you and me as well, all authority has been given to me, so go. His authority on earth allows us to dare to go to all the nations. His authority in heaven gives us our only hope of success. And his presence with us leaves us no other choice. I trust as you think about pressing on in your current ministry, as you think perhaps of starting new ministries or trying new ministries, that you will press on, being informed, press on, fully equipped, and press on together for the glory of his name. Amen. Thank you.